Good evening, everyone. Today is, February 11th, 2026, and this is the regular meeting of the Cathedral City City Council. Go ahead and call to order and ask for a pledge of allegiance from Councilmember Lamb, followed by an invocation from Councilmember Gordon. Please rise if you're able.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Please remain standing for the invocation.
During Black History Month, let us reflect on the words of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. in his letter from a Birmingham jail. He wrote, "I am cognizant of the interrelatedness of all communities and states. I cannot sit idly by in Atlanta and not be concerned about what happens in Birmingham. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. We are caught in an inescapable network of mutuality, tied in a single garment of destiny. Whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly. Never again can we afford to live in the narrow, provincial, outside agitator idea. Anyone who lives inside the United States can never be considered an outsider anywhere within its bounds. And let us always remember the interrelatedness that Dr. King writes about between cities and states, among our communities in the Coachella Valley, in California, and around the country. We cannot sit idly by in Cathedral City and not be concerned by what happens in Minneapolis or Charlotte or Los Angeles or DC. Let us remember the interrelatedness of the people in our community with those in communities around the country as we go forth and lead right here in Cathedral City."
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Thank you, council members. Next, we will have roll call.
Councilmember Gordon,
Here.
Councilmember Ross,
Here.
Councilmember Lamb,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Gutierrez,
Here.
Mayor Gregory.
Here. The next item on our agenda is agenda finalization. Are there any changes to the regular meeting agenda?
Good evening, Mayor and council members. The only change that will be on the public hearing, there was a need to continue this item. So at that time in the agenda, staff will ask that the council open the item. Staff will present on the reasons for why it needs to be extended and then request that that be continued.
All right, we're
That's the only
prepared to do
change.
that. Thank you. All right, this is the time during our meeting for public comments on items that are not on the agenda. If you have a public comment that is not on the agenda, we ask you fill out a speaker slip and present it to the clerk. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes. Just a reminder, this is a time for people to make public comments. It is not appropriate to clap or cheer or otherwise verbally disturb the meeting. If you have a public comment and you wish to make it, please come forward at the appropriate time and do so. All right, who's up first, City Clerk?
Our first speaker is Catherine Fuller.
My name is Catherine Fuller. I'm a resident of Cathedral City, also a property owner. I pay property taxes here. My issue today is the smell of weed in Cathedral City. I'm one of the people that not only don't like the smell of weed, I actually get sickened by the smell of weed. I'm also a licensed caregiver here by the County of Riverside. I was offered a job basically 2 blocks from here at the senior center, and when I went there, I just could not believe how heavily the smell of weed is at the senior center just a few blocks away from here. That was over a year ago. But even today, I was driving down Ramon and also Date Palm and smelled this while driving in my car. So I would like the city of Cathedral City to do something to mitigate and remove the smell of weed in the community, because I know that there are much better filtration systems in other cities, and we need to do something here. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Next speaker.
Paula Whittakin.
Welcome.
Good evening, council members. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Paula Wiedekind. I live on Olancha. I've been here before with the same problems, and I thought once Al Jimenez left, the threatening me would stop. I am still being threatened into silence. I have a destructive neighbor who the city has allowed to put a driveway alongside of my house. He has a garbage truck parked there. I've had to have rats, mice, wasps, and bees exterminated. He's also been allowed to put up 15-foot-high floodlights, which are pointing on me. Justin Gardner says that I'm imagining things. Your police department says it. I have a municipal ordinance, 9.89, that states that these lights cannot be there. You also have a city ordinance against a driveway that is put within 15 feet of the current driveway. Now, if nothing's going to be done, I at least expect that the police will protect me and that I'm no longer threatened by Justin Gardner and Andrew Feinstein, just as I was threatened before by Al Jimenez and Sean Nato. I want the threats to stop. And Justin drives around taking pictures of my property, stating he's going to do fines and citations because of my property. Yet I have pictures of what this neighborhood looks like. It's awful. I can't believe how bad it looks. I am trying to move while I'm still in one piece. Anyway, thank you. I appreciate you listening, and I expect something to be done. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
The next speaker is Patrick Meehan.
Welcome, sir.
Hi, good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to address the City Council tonight about the issue of air contamination by cannabis production facilities within Cathedral City. My name is Patrick Meehan. I'm a physician who specializes in family medicine and preventive medicine. I've previously been State Director of Public Health in 2 different states and was previously Deputy Director of the Center for Environmental Health at the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention in Atlanta. I'm currently Medical Director of a healthcare program for seniors in La Quinta, and I'm a homeowner and resident here in Cathedral City. As you probably know, hundreds of Cathedral City residents have complained over the years of odors and health effects due to airborne emissions from cannabis grow houses and production facilities within Cathedral City. Cannabis cultivation produces volatile chemicals in a category called terpenes, which are well known to be potential respiratory irritants and can cause lung injury, and of course are a nuisance odor producer. There are other chemicals produced by growing cannabis plants that are possible cancer-causing chemicals. The facilities in Cathedral City that extract and process cannabis use volatile organic compounds, many of which are known to cause serious health effects such as cancer, liver injury, and so forth. There are well-known engineering fixes that can prevent emission of these noxious and dangerous substances into the ambient air. I've spoken to city officials and understand that there are relatively new ordinances in place that prohibit any odor beyond the property line. And if odor is detected, the city has the authority to require production facilities to submit odor control plans, which, once approved, must be implemented in a timely fashion. This is clearly a step in the right direction. However, an ordinance is only as good as its enforcement. Given that hundreds of people are complaining about cannabis-related odors, it is clear that the odors are passing over the property line, and it's imperative that the city immediately and aggressively enforce these ordinances in order to protect the health and well-being of the residents of the city. Any facility that is violating the ordinance and has odors beyond the property line should immediately get a cease and desist order to cease production until an odor control engineering is put in place. I'm sure that you're also aware that many cities in California have prohibited cannabis production facilities from opening up within their city limits. Unfortunately, Cathedral City chose not to do this, but I would suggest that it's not too late to prohibit any additional facilities from opening up within the relatively small city and further impacting our health.
Thank you for your comments.
Thank you very much for letting me speak.
The next speaker is Alicia Meehan.
Thank you for letting me speak. I'll try and speak quickly. My husband and I recently moved from LA and purchased a home in Cathedral City. Since we moved in, we've experienced a strong odor of cannabis and chemicals in our backyard in the morning and evening between 5 p.m. to midnight, which then gets inside our home. It has made our home unlivable. Our neighbors are experiencing the same thing and have stopped using their backyards. Palm Springs requires the cannabis manufacturing and growers to be near 110. And if there's an odor, they give a $25,000 fine, but that's not the case of Cathedral City. We were horrified to discover that the City Council of Cathedral City gave licenses to 33 cannabis manufacturers and growers near residents. One of them is the largest in the state, the size of 5 football fields right smack in the middle of a residential neighborhood. And if they do an odor, they get a warning and then a small fine, all a part of the cost of doing business for them. We learned from SCAQMD that the cannabis manufacturers are using toxic solvents, including butane and ethanol, to extract, which when emitted into the air cause neurological and cardiovascular damage. They're also a fire hazard. The cannabis also emits beta-mycerine, which is a known carcinogen. That is what the community and our children are breathing in our backyards, in our homes, and when people drive by Perez and Keeley and other addresses. We further learned that most cities in California require cannabis manufacturers and growers to have closed-loop system and activated carbon filtration systems before they begin operation, so the odor doesn't leave the facility. But that's not what Cathedral's decided to do. They're having them give these odor reports this year, a year after some point in 2026. Then they have to have them reviewed. Then they have 6 months to do compliance. We have no idea what they're going to be. There's no transparency for the people living here. Cathedral City has a new ordinance that sounds on the surface, I am an attorney, sounds good. That if there's an odor coming from one of these facilities beyond their property line, they're not allowed to do that, and there will be some type of code, enforcement. However, we met with the city officials and code enforcement, and it sounds that we can't complain about it standing there. They have to come and, smell it themselves. It just seems, and it takes 5 days for them to come and so forth. It just seems completely backwards in terms of the way other cities are doing it. So the bottom line is I'm begging you as a resident to please reconsider doing it this way and have these, have your people go in and start,
All right, thank you. That's your time. Thank you
do
so much.
something. Thank you.
Next speaker is Janet Ream.
Welcome.
Thank you again for putting up with me. And I don't know any of these people, but I applaud them for coming in and speaking to this because I feel kind of like I'm the only one coming anymore. But in our reporting, if you use the app, coming in here tonight, I smelled it coming, I'm assuming from Perez, tried to report it, and it froze up and it won't let me report at all. Number two is I received a phone call from a gentleman from C4. I have never spoke to anybody from C4. I am assuming that they had to have gotten the information off of us reporting, because then I spoke to a lot of our neighbors, and they received this. In my case, the gentleman I spoke to said that they did have a potential on the date and the time that I reported it, that there may have been an issue. But everybody else I've talked to, when they were called, they were told that we're sorry, but we couldn't find anything to substantiate your reporting. That's not a way for us to come to a conclusion or to come to an agreement that we've got issues and we've got problems with this smell. It is citywide. It's not just us. Yes, we have the biggest facility in the state right in our back door, but we've got to come to some type of an agreement. To this day, I'm been up here for the last 2 years. We cannot keep going down this road of it ruining our time, and most of us are there 6 months, our time there, because all of a sudden you'll be having dinner or you'll be having drinks on your patio with somebody, and then that smell comes up and it just drives you to go inside. That's not fair to us. I understand that it's a business. I understand that this council did not approve for this business to go in there, to be built there, but somehow this council has been left with the responsibility that they need to be able to stop their smell at their property line and not allowing all the rest of us to have to deal with it so they can make money. And I've said time and time again that there are other ways that the city could get revenue from that piece of property other than having marijuana coming out of it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
The next speaker is Danny Lee.
Good evening, Council. I read through the new survey of Cathedral City residents conducted by FM3, and it shows how our city is generally moving in the right direction. 3/4 of residents consider our city a good or excellent place to live, and by a margin of 2 to 1, residents have favorable opinions of city government. Of course, residents do see urgent issues that they want addressed. Road maintenance was a concern for 34% of public, and speeding and traffic issues concern for 13%. The good news was that the cannabis smell is now only listed as a concern by 2% of residents, and given that the new ordinance is just taking effect, hopefully that number will reduce further in the next 12 months. It also appears from the report that our annexation into the Desert Recreation District as a result of Measure W has increased residents' satisfaction with our recreation services. Additionally, residents rated these items as high importance and high satisfaction: fire protection and paramedic services, police protection, 911 emergency response, emergency preparedness, and our trash and bulky item collection services. Also exceeding expectations in the report, special events such as the Hot Air Balloon Festival, the cultural and performing arts programs, and park maintenance. It is good to see this annual survey showing continued improvement year on year. I would definitely encourage all residents to review the survey, which gives a wide-ranging and clear picture of the state of our city. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
The next speaker is Irving Carias. Irving? Okay, moving on. Catherine Evans, would you like to speak on an agenda item or something not related to the agenda?
It's about, yes, I'm a real estate agent here in California, 22 years.
So not on,
Location.
okay, go ahead.
Thank you very much. Yes, I just heard a friend. I'm Catherine S. Evans. Thank you very much for listening. I've chosen to represent buyers predominantly, and then I'll represent their sale of their home. And basically, we all know why we live here, why we choose where we live. We just want to have a beautiful home, safe streets, great schools, and the location is like we always hear, location, location, location. And I've always ended up saying disclosure, disclosure, disclosure. I disclose up front with my buyers. I look at the area. I don't take them to any area that has high electrical, powerful aerial, and I don't take them near a grid. I don't take them to an odor. An odor is very questionable no matter what it is. I don't care if it's coming from water, lake, river. I don't take them anywhere. So I'm looking at it and I'm blocking it. And that has got to really sit with you well. We need to have a solid foundation where we live. We need to feel safe, secure, happy, and we want to invite our children, our grandchildren. This is a special destination. I just moved here 18 months ago, but I've been in Orange County and come here many times and represented my family buying here. And I just want you to know that investment is one of their very most important investments of their entire lifetime, especially there's a lot of seniors here. And that's one reason I moved here. I'm in my 70s, and I thought I'd always be able to live near the ocean. But you know what? It got more and more expensive, and it's more and more crowded. And so I had to go where I could afford,
because I'm on a limited income as well. So I'm just speaking from my heart, my soul, my dedication. For these homeowners, I probably wouldn't take any buyer there. Not one. That's got to sit with you because it's very, very important. I believe in my heart you would not have built it across from Disney. I don't think you would have been able to. Because why? They're Disney. They're very, very powerful. And they've got a lot of lawyers. You know, these people don't. So, I speak on behalf of them. I couldn't sit home. I just heard about the meeting at about literally 3:30. And I got down here because I feel that you need to hear it from an agent who has to represent the best interests of the homeowner, whether they're the buyer or whether they're the seller. And it's very important. I don't know all the details regarding their health, but I also had a license in Hawaii, the Big Island, and my children were born there, my grandchildren were born there, has volcanic ash. I had to study about the VOG, V-O-G, volcanic. It's very, very toxic. And I had to move from our dream home, 22 years ago back here. So I'm saying to you, there's many different perspectives, but I wanted you to hear mine.
Thank you for your comments.
Are there any other members that wish to comment on items not related to the agenda? I see no more, Mayor.
Thank you so much. Then we'll close public comments and move on to council reports and start with Councilmember Gordon.
Thank you. Okay, so on the 31st of January, I went to the fire and EMS badge pinning with council members Ross and Lamb and took a tour of the fire station with Chief Contreras. On February 3rd, I had an update on the cannabis situation in the city, and particularly C4, with Andy Firestein and Justin Gardner. On the 5th, I took a tour of C4 and met with the staff there with interim city manager Ann Ambrose. On the 7th, I participated in the strategy session with staff and council. And then I attended the Soul Springs Festival, which was magnificent. It was, I think, the best event I've seen in our amphitheater ever. It was unbelievable. And I don't think I've ever seen it that packed. So kudos to everybody who participated in that, both attendees and planner executors. That was amazing. On the 9th, I went to the League of California Cities meeting and dinner with Mayor Gregory, Mayor Pro Tem Gutierrez, and interim city manager Ann Ambrose, where we heard from cities around Riverside. It was pretty fantastic to hear from other council members, city managers, and advocates for city policies. And then just yesterday, I went to the inaugural Tastes and Sounds, which was also phenomenal. And you may or may not have seen me dancing to Car Wash.
Very nice. All right, next is Councilmember Ross.
Thank you, Mayor. Of course, I choked as soon as I said that. Since last we reported our goings-on, I have celebrated a 100th birthday party with one of our residents, participated and will continue to participate with Courageous Resistance events. Worked with Christina on the future of 460s and electronic filing partners. Attended a large luncheon with the mosquito and vector control where our trustee Doug Walker received the largest award. This was a regional luncheon and a 4-day symposium. I attended a small party with Raul Ruiz and his staff. He is our congressman. Attended and contributed to the Guardians Breakfast, which is the Find Food Bank. I was at the grand opening of the La Quinta Wellness Center. Attended the Cicada Fine Arts Center, where 15 women leaders were featured and pictures had been taken of them. Our commissioner, Erin Highland, was featured as one of them. I took part in a house party where the discussion was on the future of Cathedral City and mobile home parks, and there'll be lots of follow-up with that group. I sadly joined many friends in celebrating the life of a brilliant man who led the Palm Springs Life magazine for many years. On a side note, my husband is feeling a little insecure about being along and fire since he is now living. I have no idea what I said. I don't even know what I typed. It doesn't even make sense. I guess he just wasn't happy that day. Oh, I know what it was. It's that when we went to the battalion, we went to the pinning, the same as that Christina said. And so the gentleman I talked about who passed away, his husband was feeling super insecure in his middle 80s. You know, he's afraid his house is going to burn down. And I reached out to fire, and one of our battalion chiefs bought a lockbox for the door and delivered and installed it. I offered to pay for it. He said, I've got this one. These are the kind of city services that warm my heart and we can all be proud of. I participated in the regional mosquito and vector control convention, and this year we did pictures and did things for our unit. We all sat for a new set of pictures, we did, so you'll see all of our smiling faces will be updated soon. On the 5th, I led the Riverside County Animal Campus where all the commissioners shared the goings-on with their organization. There's much to still do, but even more is either done or in the works. And that's always a really good place to be when you're with an agency, that you're on the top half of we've got most things done. I met and took a 2-hour meeting with Michael Phipps Russell, who runs the cat clinic on Landau. He is a wealth of information and a profound asset to our agency. Of course, the 8th was goal setting for most of us, and this is a very important yearly event as it brings forth many ideas that we can work and move forward on. And yesterday, I had a walkthrough of the Desert Marigold. I think they have made the official change. It was the Desert Extended Stay, which is a low-income housing project. It was a difficult lift that took 3 years, and I can't tell you how many agencies, but it is done, and it is fabulous, and it is almost full, and it's just one of those projects we all had a piece of. You guys had a piece of too. We all had a piece of, and it's really in a great spot. So I did meet with a constituent and met with Ann for our weekly meeting, and I'm going to end it there. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you so much. Next up is Councilmember Lamb.
Thank you very much. We held an emergency preparedness workshop on January 31st, and it was attended beautifully, and we were able to give away 16 grab-and-go buckets to folks. We had about 50 people in attendance, and that represented 16 households. So thank you very much. And prior to that was the badge pinning. And one of the firefighters who was pinned that day was Dewan Delatorre. And Dewan Delatorre is a Cathedral City resident, and he's kind of come up through the ranks and grown up with us here in Cathedral City. And he did the presentation for emergency preparedness. And while I was shaking hands with people and telling them about our next event, these 3 young men came to the library, which we were holding it there, and they had been they were going to be holding a meeting at 1:30 in the afternoon, and their theme was All Roads Lead to Cathedral City, and they were brainstorming about ways to improve Date Palm. And I certainly want to thank Cynthia Schultz. I chatted with her afterwards. She's the one who put this together. And it's a long time coming, and it's wonderful to get outside and young ideas about how to improve our city, and I know we talk about it all the time. So thank you so much for your input. I attended it was the bench dedication for Buford Kreitz, who passed away, and he's a longtime Palm Desert City Councilman, but also involved in the Coachella Valley, the Multiple Species Habitat Plan. And that was a collaboration, and it was put on by Friends of the Desert Mountain, and I represent the Coachella Valley Mountains Conservancy. I'm the vice chair of that committee, so we were involved in that along with the Palm Desert officials. So it was just really wonderful to see how it's come to life and how these things make such a difference. I wasn't able to attend the next session of our Cathedral City Ignite program. It started Thursday night and it runs for 3 more Thursdays. But this is a wonderful opportunity for our community to reinforce, enhance, and reinvigorate small businesses within our community. I did attend yoga in the amphitheater. We started last Tuesday, and it runs through March because even though we think it's wonderful weather in April, it's not. It's too hot to do yoga. But Antonio Beishu and Gary Marshall and Aaron Highland are usually there representing the Parks and Community Events Commission. They do a magnificent job. And a shout out to Antonio, because as the folks come in and Gary's giving them yoga mats if they don't have any, he talks about the other events we have going on in Cathedral City, and we saw lots of yoga people at the Taste and Sound, so it was a great connection and great networking. Am now your representative for the Public Safety Commission. I attended my first meeting on Monday, and lo and behold, there's Interim Chief Sanchez and Fire Chief Contreras. So it was a wonderful group. It's held at the Coachella Valley Water District on Hoveley, and the presenters were from Blythe and Palm Springs. And Lieutenant Hutchinson, who is the Palm Springs lieutenant, he talked about the drone program, and he was the one who presented to us, I think it was about maybe 8 or 10 weeks ago, and how effective that is. And Grace Garner is a councilwoman for Palm Springs. She sat next to me, and she had a wonderful example about the positive aspects of this drone program. And she talked about how a report came in. There were folks with guns, and when they sent the drone out, it turns out there were teenagers with a BB gun. So that changed the whole tenor of it, and they were able to intercept the children and tell them this was not the way to be going, and they put themselves in a dangerous situation. So it was really de-escalated. So Interim Police Chief Sanchez talked to me about the schedule for training our staff so that we can be part of this. So it was very effective, very interesting. And I took this over from Raymond Gregory, and I said, hey, I love this. This is a very good group. I'm also, when I said it was the Mountains Conservancy, this is the first year the Conservancy has offered a photography contest, and the winner of the contest, that winning picture is going to be on the front page of their annual report. But it was unbelievable. They had 48 photographs submitted, and it was just regular old people who love the desert like we love it, sending in these fabulous pictures that they've taken, just highlighting about our beautiful desert and the value of our committee to continue preserving that. In addition to that, the Conservancy has received a grant of $11 million for clean water, a list of 5 different parameters, but go on their website and see what's happening. And there will be distributing approximately $2 million a year over the course of that time until the money runs out. But, thinking out of the box is the thing to do. And let me see here. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you for that report, Council Member. Next up is Mayor Pro Tem Gutierrez.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening. It's nice to see all of you guys here, all the employees here. Since we last met, as an alternate, I attended a meeting for the Visit Palm Springs Board. The Visit Palm Springs Board, if you guys are not aware of, is a GPA in which all cities contribute a portion of all the TOT taxes that are collected from tourist rooms that are rooms from hotels. Now, their budget is about $23 million a year. And what they do with that money is they go out there to the entire world and they advertise the Coachella Valley. They advertise for conventions and tourism. And what they bring to the Coachella Valley, the amount of money that they bring into the Coachella Valley is absolutely enormous, that it really, truly drives the economy of the Coachella Valley. And I used to be at that board 2 years ago, and being back for just the one meeting, it was incredible to see how much they do, how much they go out there. For instance, when you hear in the news that a new a new airline is going to be having new flights from here to New York or any other city. They're behind the scenes doing a lot of this negotiating and a lot of this work. So whenever you hear the Visit Palm Springs, support them and appreciate them because they do a lot of work for us. And I also attended a Development Code Steering Committee, which was held last Tuesday. It's a long meeting, but time goes by so fast. And what we're doing is we're trying to update the development code to make it friendlier and also up to date with to go along with other cities. And it's also a mandate from the state. Our development code was followed by the Riverside County. It was mirrored to whatever they did. Well, the Riverside County updated their code many years ago, and we are still reflecting upon their old regulations when it comes to code and development. So that is completely updated, and that's one of the reasons why we're working on it. And I also had a meeting with our city manager to go over tonight's agenda, and we'll also go over other issues. We talked about the upcoming goal setting, which was on Saturday, and we talked about other issues as well. And on Saturday, as it was mentioned, we spent all day talking about the future of the city, goals for next year's goals, what we wish to do and what we want to do for our city. And I also attended, along, like it was mentioned, a meeting with the Cal Cities Division. Our mayor was there, also Councilmember Christina was there, and it was nice for her to experience the first meeting. And when you go to those meetings, you get to actually meet with other council members from other cities. And it's nice to see and share information as to what they're doing with their own cities and what issues they're having as well. And last night, I attended the first Taste and Sounds of Cathedral City. The music was incredible. It was absolutely just beyond belief. The attendance for the first day of the Taste and Sounds of Cathedral City, the attendance was actually really good, and I'm sure the crowds is only gonna get bigger or larger. And let's see, what else did I do here? Well, tomorrow I will be attending a Coachella Valley Conservation Committee meeting. I'll report to you on that as to see what we talked about. And next week, next Monday, city offices will be closed. We'll be observing President's Day. All the employees enjoy President's Day, the long weekend off, and be safe. And next Thursday, February 19th, something very special that happens in Cathedral City. We host the Mary Notter softball tournament. Girls from all over the United States come out and they participate in a tournament. The teams that come out, the universities that come out is San Diego, Utah, Nebraska, Oklahoma, Texas, Washington, Oregon. So many universities come out here. And that brings a lot of money to our city. They stay in our hotels, they spend money here. And one of the people that does a lot of work in getting our restaurants busy is Antonio here. He goes out there on his own. No one tells him what to do. He goes out there and he just passes out flyers from different restaurants. I hope you get a free lunch or something out of it. But he already has them there. He's showing them. But it's a beautiful tournament to watch. I, as an athlete, I love to go out there and watch how absolutely incredible these girls are. They are great athletes. And if you get a chance, the opportunity to go out there is going to be from February 19th to the 22nd, Sunday. So from Thursday through Sunday. And what was that?
Big League Dreams.
Big League Dreams, yes. And let's see. I also spoke with one of our residents. I got a phone call from a resident who's very interested in cleaning up his neighborhood. He also contacted Councilmember Lamb. He's interested in cleaning up our city. And in the survey that was actually conducted by FM3, it was also emphasized that a lot of our residents do care about our city, and they do care about enforcing our ordinances, and they do care about a more beautiful, clean city. And that concludes my report, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mayor Pro Tem. I heard a rumor here, but yesterday that someone got older here in Cathedral City. So I do want to wish you a belated happy birthday, Mayor Pro Tem.
Well, thank you. Appreciate it.
All right. So these things that are being reported are only since the last 2 weeks. We last met on a regular meeting on January 28th. So everyone has been very busy. So immediately after that Wednesday, the next Thursday and Friday, I did represent the city of Cathedral City at the Riverside County Transportation Commission's annual workshop. I am the 2026 chair, so I actually ran the workshop. It was held here in Cathedral City at the DoubleTree. It was a very nice event and a lot of great compliments from people who had never been to the DoubleTree or even knew we had a nice resort hotel like that in Cathedral City. So that was great. In that meeting, a contract was approved to further the Coachella Valley Rail Project, which is the daily rail service project that will someday run from LA Union Station all the way through to Coachella with stops along the way, 3 stops in the valley. That's an $80 million contract was approved for the next phase, which I wish I could say was construction, but it's not. It's some required environmental studies that will probably take a couple of years to get done, but it is an important step. Coachella Valley Rail is a legacy project that Cathedral City, through Greg Pettis, was one of the 2. The county supervisor at the time, John Benoit, both John Benoit and Greg Pettis have since passed away. That's how long this project has been going. I hope to be able to write it before that happens to me, but there's no guarantees. It's still many years down the road. But it is one of those long-term legacy projects that we need to keep moving forward on, and Cathedral City has certainly been doing their part. Of course, it was a two-day convention, many other topics, a lot of discussions, even discussions about the impacts of warehousing on transportation, and the traffic relief plan, which is an integrated study of traffic projects in both the Western County and the Eastern County. The Transportation Commission itself, if you're not familiar with them, they have a representative from each city, plus all 5 Board of Supervisors, plus a representative from Caltrans. So it is a 34-member board. So it was nice they were able to do their workshop this year in Cathedral City. And then the next week, on that next Monday, I did represent the city at the Coachella Valley Association of Government Transportation Committee. And there was a number of items on the agenda there, most notably some items for the arts and music line, which is kind of I look at it as an extension of CV Link, but it's primarily in the Eastern Valley, La Quinta and Indio, those areas, and it connects the CV Link to the festival grounds amongst other places. So it's a great project. There was a number of other items, including on the CV Sync, which is the traffic signal synchronization project that's continuing to move forward, and a long discussion about funding of long-term projects, arterials, and bridge projects, those types of things, and the state of the funding, which, as you can probably guess, is very little funding and a lot of projects. That continues. Then that same week, I did want to just mention that, of course, there was a potential contract announcement for a high-ranking city employee that went out, and so there was a lot of media attention. I want to make sure to thank our communication events manager, Ryan Hunt, and our city attorney, Eric Vale, and our interim city manager, Ann Ambrose. And I know there were others involved, but that helped kind of lay that out in a way that was proper, but kind of made sure that the media information was out there so people could learn about what is coming up later on the agenda tonight. And then, as has already been mentioned, all of us, of course, and the department heads were at the special council meeting, strategic plan workshop that was on Saturday the 7th. So I won't go on about that, but that is something that we do every year, and very, very important to help us check into where we are and to help kind of lay out a roadmap for priorities for the coming year. And then, as already been mentioned, this past Monday, I did attend with a number of my colleagues to the Cal Cities, League of California Cities, Riverside County Division meeting. It was in Beaumont. And then earlier today, I traveled to Riverside and again represented the city on the Riverside County Transportation Commission as the commission chair. And there were a number of items, including some updates on some funding. There's been a little increase on the Measure A sales tax funding and what's called the LTF funding. The Measure A, a little bit of that trickles down and helps with some of the city streets. So we're always happy when we see it goes up a little bit, although like most of the sales tax, it's really leveled out the last couple of years. And so this is countywide, but even countywide it's leveled out. And then the LTF also went up a little bit. That helps fund some of the transit projects. There was also a presentation today on smart freeways. There's a pilot program going on, what they call smart freeways with a number of sensors and cameras and signals. And this one is on Interstate 15 in the Temecula area, northbound. And without getting too much into it, what it does is it measures where the traffic on the freeway has its crowded parts and the less crowded parts, and it will tweak a little bit of the ramp metering coming in so that the cars coming in can hit the freeway in the not crowded parts. And so it requires a bit of work because you have to increase the ramp area so you can queue more cars into there and then let them go when it's time for them to go. So that's in the Temecula area. I mean, we do drive there if you go through to San Diego and back. But this is also, if this test is successful, the I-10 area and the Banning Pass would probably be the next candidate for that type of relief. Again, it's minor, but since the state of California, Caltrans won't allow anyone to build additional lanes that aren't carpool lanes, those type of lanes, or toll lanes, we have to try to do the best we can with some of the areas that we have. So this is a very interesting technology-based project that is going on right now in the test phase. It'll be going on for probably a couple of years and then maybe rolled out in other areas. Maybe by then it'll be so crowded in the Coachella Valley will be a component, but we'll see. It's already been mentioned, the Taste and Sounds. I planned to attend yesterday, but fate had other things in mind, so I did not get away in time to attend Taste and Sounds, but I want to make sure everyone has caught that this was just the first one. So every Tuesday all the way through March, there will be a Taste and Sounds. It's a free event here in the amphitheater every Tuesday. It starts around 5 p.m. And you can bring snacks. You don't have to bring snacks. Bring a chair, a blanket. There's some great music. I think next up is the Rancho Mirage High School band. You know, a lot of the students in Cathedral City attend Rancho Mirage High School, so it is a local band. So that one is more family oriented, but it should be fun. And then they'll continue on. If you need more information, of course, it's available on discovercathedralcity.com. And I just wanted to remind everyone, in particular the men, because women might tend to remember, but Valentine's Day is this Saturday, and I don't want anybody to get into trouble. So if you have a sweetheart and you aren't going to plan something yet for Valentine's Day, keep yourself out of trouble and plan something for this Saturday, at least to show your love. And although it's not a Cathedral City event, I did want to mention that the Riverside County Date Festival starts tomorrow. That is a great event that we're fortunate to be down valley in our neighbor Indio. It starts tomorrow, and I think it runs all the way through March 1st, so especially with families, but it's really kind of good for everybody. If you want to attend a good old-fashioned county fair, it'll be going on starting tomorrow all the way through March 1st. And I just want to note our next meeting will be 2 weeks from today, so we'll be back to see you in 2 weeks. And that's the end of my comments. Thank you. All right, moving on with the agenda. The next item on our agenda is the consent agenda. I'll ask the city clerk to please read the consent items.
Item 3A is to waive full reading of ordinances on the agenda. Item 3B is to approve the January 28, 2026 meeting minutes. Item 3C is to receive and file the Commissioner Committee member attendance record. Item 3D is to accept and approve the Dream Homes Park Perimeter Wall Project C07021 as complete and authorize the city manager to execute and file a notice of completion. Item 3E is to accept and approve the Dream Homes Park Project C07021 as complete and authorize the city manager to execute and file the notice of completion. And that concludes the consent agenda.
Thank you very much. Council, any questions or comments on the consent agenda?
No questions.
Seeing none, are there any public comments on the consent agenda?
I did not receive any request to speak forums. If you're a member of the public and you wish to comment on the consent agenda, please raise your hand. I see none.
All right, I'll go ahead and close public comment, returning back to the council for a motion or further action.
I move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Lamb, a second by Mayor Pro Tem Gutierrez. Please vote. Motion carries, all ayes.
Thank you very much. Moving right along. Agenda item 4A, a public hearing, a zoning ordinance amendment 2005-005, an amendment to chapter 9.114, accessory dwelling units of Title IX Planning and Zoning of the Cathedral City Municipal Code for consistency with new state legislation regulating accessory dwelling units. And I'll turn to the interim city manager for introduction. I know you've already spoken a little bit about what we'll be doing with this item, but I don't know if you wanted to introduce the person that will be giving the presentation.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm going to turn this brief presentation over to our Community and Economic Development Director, Andy Firestein, to talk about the reasons for the need for the continuation.
So good evening, Mayor, City Council. I'm Andy Firestein, and we are recommending that this item be open and continued to the February 25th meeting. This was previously presented to the Planning Commission on January 21st. Essentially, the ordinance is a cleanup of our regulations on accessory dwelling units. And as Council knows, there are many bills at the state level affecting housing and accessory dwelling units. While this ordinance was intended to get the city up to date, in the process of bringing this item forward to the Planning Commission, we were made aware of another bill, SB 543, that was not incorporated in the ordinance presented to the Planning Commission. It was discussed at the Planning Commission, and it was made part of the recommendation. But we do need a little bit more time to coordinate with the City Attorney's Office to review this ordinance. Unfortunately, we had already advertised the public hearing for the date tonight. So our recommendation is to open and continue it, which would allow us to move that date without republishing the notice. And with that, I'll turn it back to City Council.
All right, Council, are there any questions? All right, then I'm going to go ahead and open the public hearing. Are there any members of the public that wish to speak on what's been presented so far?
Mayor, I did not receive any requests to speak forums. If you're a member of the public and you wish to comment on this item, please raise your hand. Seeing none, Mayor.
All right. If there are no objections or questions from council, this hearing will remain open, requiring no further public notice to our February 25th, 2026 regular city council meeting scheduled 5:30 p.m. to be held here at the City Hall Council Chambers. All right, and with that, it will remain open until called at that time.
Mayor Gregory?
Yes.
Conferring with legal, we would like to take a vote on continuing the item.
You do. All right. Something has changed since we spoke earlier, and so we would like, if council is okay, amenable to keeping that public hearing open, I would like to entertain a motion for that.
I move to keep the public hearing open. Continue.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, I believe I heard we have a motion by Councilmember Lamb and a second by Councilmember Gordon. Is that correct? Okay, please vote. And motion carries, all ayes.
All right, move to the next item. It's in the legislative calendar, 5A, an employment agreement for city manager. I'll ask the city attorney to introduce the item.
I'd be happy to present this. It's a very short presentation. Attached to your agenda tonight is the proposed employment agreement for Andrew Firestein as your new city manager. That agreement was prepared at the direction of the City Council after an extensive recruitment process. We have come to terms on the agreement, and in accordance with California law, I'm going to summarize some of the basic terms, and then you can certainly ask any questions you might have about the agreement itself. If not, a motion to approve would be appropriate, assuming there are no comments from the public. This agreement is for a nominal term of 5 years. I say nominal because it can be terminated by either party upon 30 days' notice, not for cause. It can also be terminated for cause by the city. The base salary that Mr. Firestein will have would be $280,000 per year. Generally, that's paid biweekly along with the city's standard payment schedule. There are retirement benefits through the CalPERS retirement system, as well as city contributions to a 401A program and to a 457 retirement account. Mr. Firestein will receive an educational stipend of 2.5% of his annual base salary. That is a fairly typical employment benefit that most executives can obtain should they have the requisite level of education and degrees. His benefits will be the same as in the executive or non-represented employees. Obviously, there are certain things that fluctuate based on the calculation of employment and sick leave, but all of those are provided in the city's policies and regulations. They'll receive an auto allowance of $600 per month, a technology stipend consistent with the city's regulations for executive and non-represented employees, and his duties as city manager will be as provided in the agreement and outlined in your municipal code. If you have any questions about that, I'm happy to respond to those.
All right, council, any questions or comments before public comment?
I'll withhold my comments after.
All right, we'll come back for comments before the motion then. All right, are there any public comments?
I did not receive any requests to speak forums. If you're a member of the public and you wish to comment on this item, please raise your hand. See none, Mayor.
All right, we're turning it back to the council for additional comments. Who wants to go first? Mayor Pro Tem Gutierrez.
Thank you, Mayor. Well, first of all, I want to congratulate the upcoming city manager if this council approves. Now, what does it take to actually get a job as a city manager, to get that position? Well, we as city council, we had to actually hire a company to help us do the recruiting, to make sure that we got the right person for the job. And this company did the recruitment throughout the United States to make sure that anyone that was possible that wanted to apply for this position could, and they did. Now, we did get a list of, they sorted out a lot of applicants that did not meet the criteria that we as a council had come up with. So they sorted through all the applicants, and they came down to a list, and then from that list, we as city council convened, and we talked about it to see what we were looking for, and we conducted interviews with these. Once we cut the list down, we conducted interviews to see which one would be the best person for the job. Now, it wasn't an easy decision. All of us were in there for 2 days to make sure that we made the right decision for the job. We had a lot of excellent candidates, and it was very difficult to make that decision, which one should we go for. It doesn't mean that we're not qualified if we did not select them. It just means that once we asked all the questions and we got all the information and we talked about it, it was actually very easy to know that even though we had amazing applicants with all the qualifications that were required, we had an employee right in-house that was ready to step in and take over. And it was a unanimous decision that the entire city council agreed upon. And it was not an easy decision when it came to selecting him, but it tells you that he rose above all the other ones. And I believe that this council did absolutely an amazing job selecting and coming up with a finalist. And last night, I got a phone call regarding the salary. Why so much? Well, it's not that it's so much. What it is that our previous city manager made a certain amount. We used to pay our Charlie McClinton. He was kind enough, he never asked for a raise. So he was never actually paid what he deserved. Now, we do a comparison with other cities to make sure that we are paying a similar salary to what other cities under the similar demographics and also population and also budget. And that's how we come about. So the salary that he's getting is fair according to all the cities that are similar to ours. And I want to thank Ann Ambrose for taking over as city manager, acting city manager for several months and taking the legacy that Charlie left and continuing on and helping us get to this point. And that concludes my comments, Mayor.
Thank you so much. Councilmember Gordon.
Yes, I just want to echo Mayor Pro Tem's comments and thank you for your added transparency. I think it's important that we, sort of share with the public the gravity with which the council approached this, knowing how important the chief executive for our city is. And this was my first experience working with this council, and I'm really proud to have been part of it with a team that took the responsibility so seriously. I'd also like to echo the thanks for Ann Ambrose. You've been a steady hand, and I think it's been really, you've been incredibly valuable to me, particularly as I've transitioned into the role. So I just want to thank you for that and congratulate our heir apparent.
Thank you. Councilmember Ross.
Thank you so much. You all know him. You know him just like we do. You know that there were a lot of people out there that are great and wonderful and fantastic. Sometimes you don't need to travel far from home to just find out that the best brownies are cooked in your very own oven. And we could not be happier and more profoundly aware of how we can grow under what we hope will be our new leadership. I guess we have about 10 minutes to get that decided, right? So we, thank you, Andy. We look forward to working side by side with you for sure. And I just have one question for our mayor. If we do, he went away from me. If we do, Mayor, if this does pass, may we break your evening's rule and perhaps can we have some clapping?
Yes, and that rule, that rule is really for public comment. But yes, after the council makes a really good decision, then sometimes a little applause is appropriate, yes.
Just a wee bit.
Councilmember Lamb, did you want to add some?
I just wanted to say too, and I really echo everybody's comments, and especially our new councilwoman, Christina Gordon, when she said the gravity with which we approached this, because there was nobody was cavalier. I mean, we know how important and valuable and essential a good leader is to this particular team. And I too want to echo thanks for Ann Ambrose, who stepped in, and I thought about it. Her very first day, even before she started on the job and got paid, she was at the strategic planning session 3 years ago, and she was assigned to my table, and she was up there with the marker and the whiteboard, getting it done right away. So, she and our soon-to-be city manager, they put the black on under their eyes and go under the ropes in the dead of night to make sure that our residents are safe and cared for, that the team is understood and listened to and given the essential things they need, and that we are informed so that we can take our information back to the residents and we're happy campers. So thank you so much for the gravity with which you approached all this. I learned years ago in leadership, you look for character, compassion, and competence. And, I'm happy to say that's Cathedral City. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Mayor Pro Tem, did you have something else you wanted to?
Yes, one more thing that I did not mention was that it took an entire team, and this city council did an amazing job. One more thing that I forgot to mention, that is the most important, is our mayor led us into all this. And sometimes we would try to weave off and change subjects. He kept us on track, and he did a magnificent job, even though he doesn't like to take credit. He pushed us and took us and led us to make sure that we stayed on track. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Yes, I want to echo that by thanking the city council for all of their hard work on this. It really was quite a task. When I heard initially from the recruiter that they had received more than 70 applications, serious applications for this job, this was not a little task. Of course, they sorted out those that didn't meet the minimum qualifications. There were still more than 60 of these applications. So I also want to make sure to thank Murray Associates and our recruiter Stacy for all the work she did. But this council very thoughtfully went through the process of taking what you, the community, had told us you wanted in a city manager, and you, the staff, told us what you wanted in a city manager, and what each of us individually and collectively wanted in a city manager, and sorted through those applicants until we came down to a smaller group that we could then individually interview, and some of them more than once, those that were successful. So sorry about that, Andy. But you need to know that this was taken very seriously, and we had not just what we wanted, we heard you as the community, and we heard you as staff as to what you wanted. And we believe that we made the right choice. So with that, I will ask City Council if somebody is ready to make a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I second.
I have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Gutierrez and a second by Councilmember Ross. Please vote. Motion carries, all ayes.
Andrew Firestein, you've been approved as our new city manager. Would you please approach the well here and to take the oath? City Council, could we please join him there?
Test, test. This way. Okay, if you'd please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Andrew Firestein,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution
the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
of the State of
of
California
the State of California
against all enemies,
against all enemies,
foreign and domestic,
foreign and domestic,
that I will
that I will
bear true faith
bear true faith
and allegiance
and allegiance
to the Constitution
to the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
of the State of
of
California,
the State of California,
that I take this obligation
that I take this obligation
freely
freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will
and that I will
well and faithfully
well and faithfully
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
upon which I'm about to enter.
upon which I am about to enter.
Congratulations.
Mayor and Council, I want to express my gratitude and appreciation for the opportunity to step into this role. This is a personal and professional milestone for me, and I am elated that I had the opportunity to do this in Cathedral City. It has been a pleasure to serve this organization the last 2.5 years as a director, and I believe that all of that work has prepared me for this opportunity to work with you, to work with the community, to continue to lead this organization forward. I want to thank many individuals. I want to thank Ann Ambrose for her leadership during this interim period, during this transition. And as well, I want to thank the staff behind me. The staff do the work. The staff work with the council, work with the city manager, work with the directors to execute the vision that council has through your strategic plan and the resources that you put forward in the budget. We're a service organization. We provide services to the Cathedral City community, and collectively, we're responsible for elevating the quality of life and making an impact in this community. And I am very much looking forward to working with everyone here, the staff behind me. Let's continue to lead this organization. Let's continue to lead this community forward. Very appreciative of the opportunity. Thank you very much.
Okay, we will be having a little reception after our meeting. We have just a couple more minutes of business to attend to, and then we will be adjourning our meeting. So please stay, and so you can visit with Andy and his family out in our lobby right after the meeting. All right, the next item on our agenda is discussion on any future agenda items. I know we just had our goal setting, but council, anything?
No.
And I believe our goals will be coming back probably next meeting if all goes well, or the one after?
Probably the first meeting in March.
First meeting in March, and then we'll be able to make sure that everything is there and discuss priorities. Thank you so much. All right, we completed our closed session in the previous meeting, and it was reported out. So with that, if there is nothing else for the good of cause, we are adjourned. Please join us for a reception in the lobby.